Isn't that so freaking cool? You can tell that it is definitely a windy day here out on the beach. What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from a rather sunny, peaceful, and windy day here on Volcano Beach, just outside of St. Augustine. But anyway, you guys, the reason why I'm down in Florida on such short notice is I am helping my friend Lee Giot, who runs Flying Ostrich Media. I am an extra in a commercial that he's working on. It is a mental health advocacy group that is here in the Jacksonville area. And anyway, I will just say I got the notification, had to be a part of it, and also I had to see my friends just because it had been so long. But anyway, you guys, hopefully you all can hear me. It's not terribly windy. I think I'm a barrier. Anyway, since we are down in this area, we are going to go into the old city of St. Augustine, my old stomping grounds where I made some of my earliest videos. And I want to show you all some stuff that is rather obscure in its history. You see, St. Augustine is known for a lot of things. It is a very big tourist attraction. It is also the oldest city in North America. But there are some places that a lot of tourists don't know about. And I'm here today to show you all that history. So anyway, you guys, let's get off the beach. And I want to show you all something that I bet you all didn't know. You see, there used to be a really big casino here on Volcano Beach. And real quick, we're going to watch this guy just a couple of more seconds. I've never seen somebody do that from so close of an angle. It's so cool. Maybe one day I'll try to do something like that. Well, it looks like they're doing some stuff to the Volcano Beach Pavilion. I think that they're building a park, or they might be doing a renovated riverfront. But that was something I was not expecting. But then again, I mean, it has been a couple of years since I've been down here. But let me show you where this old casino used to be. Through all the work that's being done right now, here is the sign. The Volcano Beach Casino. It existed between 1926 and 1939. Formerly at this site stood the Volcano Beach Casino, constructed between 1926 and 1927. Casinos of the early 1900s were a source of social entertainment. Gambling was not provided. Big name bands from New York, Van Fill acts, theme parties, and dances were hosted here. This unique oceanfront casino had monumental architecture on this unique property. Property 300 feet wide and 250 feet deep. A saltwater swimming pool 150 feet long by 50 feet wide, and fine dining. A palm log bridge over the North River provided access to the inland by carway. The casino was the cornerstone of a major development that platted as the Volcano Beach by the St. Augustine and Atlantic Corporation, headed by the New York philanthropist August Heckschuer. Automobile and rail travel brought potential buyers during the 1920s, and Florida land boom travel brought potential buyers. Anyway, I read that wrong. However, the plan failed during the Great Depression. The storms of 1938-1939 washed the casino into the sea. Today, Mr. Heckschuer's dream is being revitalized. A public recreation area was built in 2004 on the casino site, and the 1920s area layout was the basis for a sustainable town center master plan by the Volcano Beach Main Street Waterfronts Group, a partnership between North Shores Improvement Association, established 1939, and St. Johns County. So everything that you see here, all of this used to be a giant casino, something that rivaled that of of Henry Flagler's hotels. I mean, it was an incredible piece of architecture, but sadly there's nothing here except for maybe a revitalized ocean front. It makes you wonder really what if there's anything left over from the casino. Like maybe this lion statue, maybe this is from the days of the casino. Honestly, I highly doubt it. In all honesty, it's probably meant for this hotel right here. So anyway, now that we have seen the remains in the historical marker, or at least probably what are not the remains, let's drive into the old city and let's see one of the most haunted buildings in the area. Now this haunted building, it is not in downtown, but it is on the outskirts of downtown. And that is the 1920s cracker house that is operated by Ghost Augustine. Now you all must be wondering, Chet, what is a cracker house? Well, it originates from a term, Florida cracker. And Florida cracker was some of your earliest tourists in the area. Anyway, what they would do is they would come down from up north and other southern areas. They would come here to enjoy the weather. It would be warm, it would be plentiful. Sometimes they would stay, and they would have these little houses. And this little house that is run by Ghost Augustine, that is a house that was built sometime in the 1930s. And actually there is another term for this particular house. It is also known as a shotgun house. And the reason why it is called a shotgun house is because of how the house is designed. You see, if you go into the building on one of Ghost Augustine's ghost tours in the house and do an investigative tour, you will see a long hallway that stretches from the back of the house to the front door of the house. You see, if somebody were to break into the house long ago, all that they would have to do is take out their shotgun and stand their ground. And here it is. Here is the house. The house that is run by Ghost Augustine. Now, you see this house, the history behind it is, while yes, it was built sometime in the 1930s, the residents at this particular house, it changed quite frequently. Oh, and by the way, there's the hearse. In fact, the reason why there might be so many cars out here is an investigation might be going on right now. I think that they do begin as early as 5 o'clock in the afternoon. By the way, if you guys do get a chance, the house tour is really amazing. But back to what I was saying, the residents of this house changed quite frequently, starting back in the 1930s. Throughout its history, it saw so many rotations of residents. Every couple of years, somebody would change out. Every couple of years, somebody would move out of the house or just leave the house alone or abandon it entirely. Until finally it became an office building for a construction company. And even then, even though it only lasted for about 5 years, it closed its doors mysteriously. So again, it closed its doors until Jonas, the owner of Ghost Augustine, he's driving around town one day and he sees this house, and for whatever reason it just catches his eye. He feels like something is not right about the house. Well, he does some digging, he takes a tour of the house, they bring in mediums, and they realize this house is haunted. And to be more specific than that, this house is haunted by 4 different spirits. Or last I checked, or at least last I worked for Ghost Augustine. One was the spirit of an older woman who passed away in the 30s. They believe she actually came with the house. A medium said that a funeral had taken place in the front of the house. So that's what they think what may have happened back in the early days. There was also the spirit of a child named Jack. Well, Jack wasn't really a child. He died when he was 16 in the 1950s. And they believe he died in a car accident. I think he may have passed on though. And I do know that there is a shadow figure in the house, and also the spirit of a kitty. Yes, there is a cat a spirit of a cat that is in this house, which is really, really awesome. When I used to give tours, I used to talk about the little kitty. So if you wanted to have a really genuine, like, haunted experience and you are here in the St. Augustine area, make sure to get with Ghost Augustine. You will have a genuine haunted experience because it is a small house. It does have 4 different ghosts in it, and really I think there's also a portal in it as well. But real quick, I don't think Jonas will mind if we take a look at the hearse. I love this hearse, and I really wish I'd had the chance to drive it when I worked for Ghost Augustine. Talk about a small world. Anyway, of all the people that could have been there, my friend and former boss Jonas Brehammer was in today. And well, tonight we will be doing an investigation of the house. So yes, a midnight investigation. This is going to be cool. I'm glad that I have the opportunity. But anyway, that is the Shotgun House, or known as the Cracker House. It is one of the most haunted buildings in St. Augustine. But while we are here, we're going to look at some more obscure history here in St. Augustine. Now, this obscure piece of St. Augustine history is kind of hard to find, especially if you don't know where to look. But we are inside of the Hilton Hotel, or I should say the outside. But there is a very important piece of civil rights history that is here on the grounds. Before the Hilton was ever here, there was an old hotel, an old inn that was known as the Monson Motor Lodge. And now the Monson Motor Lodge, at the time, St. Augustine would be seeing its 400th anniversary. And because of this very important date, historical figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and other members of the civil rights movement, they came down here to St. Augustine, and on June 18th and 19th, at this particular pool, they swam in this pool, but they refused to leave. And actually here at the Hilton Inn, here are some steps from that pool. But what was going on is you had people of color that were swimming in the pool, and I believe the guy's name was like John Brock or Andy Brock. And anyway, James Brock, he was the president of the St. Augustine Hotel, Motel, and some of the other businesses that was here in the area. Well, since the African Americans would not leave his pool, it was a form of peaceful protest. What he did was he poured, I think it's like some type of acid, monoxide acid or something like that, acid, and it burned them. And here is a historical marker that really, I think, just because of the day and the age that we live in, stuff like this is pretty important. These steps were salvaged when the Monson Motel was demolished in 2003 and remain in tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was arrested here in 1964. On this site, June 18th, 1964, 16 Jewish clergy marching in protest for civil rights at the request of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. were arrested in the largest mass arrest of rabbis in United States history. St. Augustine Jewish Historical Society. And that's another thing too. You see, Dr. Martin Luther King, he had some of the rabbis from the area come down into this spot to protest. And one of the things about James Brock is he refused to take Dr. Martin Luther King's money. And I think this is one of the few times that Dr. Martin Luther King was arrested. But I think it's really cool that they have some of these steps that they salvaged. And I'm guessing this is probably where the pool once was. That is an orange tree. That is so very interesting. And here right beside the monument, they also have another one. And I believe this one also represents the desegregation of America, which I believe happened in 1964. Same year that my dad was born. Yes, it is so very important that we do not repeat history. And I don't remember this one, but right across the way from this one right here, there's also another marker from when Hurricane Matthew happened back in 2016. And it is this one right here, Hurricane Matthew. High water mark October 7th, 2016. This is how far it came up. As you can see, the water is all the way right out there, and it came up to right about where this Hilton sign is. There is so much history here along this riverfront. Like this particular piece of obscure history. Like, I think really the only way you would know what it is if you stopped and took a look at it. And here is the marker. This is a remnant of the Rodriguez Argesian house. These low stone walls were the remnants of a building constructed during the first Spanish period, 1513 to 1763, from native rock known as coquina. The building belonged to Antonio Rodriguez Argian, a soldier whose family lived in St. Augustine for several generations. When Britain took over Florida in 1763, Argian left with his family for Campeche, Mexico. When Spain reacquired Florida in 1784, the heirs of the Argian attempted to reclaim their father's house on the bay. The house belonged to King Charles III of Spain in 1788, but was occupied by John Leslie, the firm of Panton, Leslie & Co., which dominated the Indian trade in the southeast during the Second Spanish period. In 1790, the house became the legal property of the Argian heirs, who then sold it to Francisco Xavier Miranda in 1887. Dr. John Vetter, a local dentist and taxidermist, leased the house. Vetter transformed the house into a curiosity museum. In mid-century, Vetter's museum was a popular tourist attraction, but a local nuisance. Following his death in 1899, the St. Augustine Historical Society bought the building and most of Vetter's collection. The society used the building as their headquarters until it was destroyed by fire in 1914. So yes, if you did not know what you were looking at, this is the remains of the Rodriguez Argian house. And as you can tell, there's not really a lot that's left. I mean, still really cool though. I'm glad to see that they built on top of it, but this is really the main foundation that was left over. So you got to think, even way back in the early 1900s, during the Victorian era, you still had, oddity museums. That's pretty interesting. But the next place that we're going to that is obscure in history relates to a certain singer/songwriter, an artist that was absolutely incredible for his time. And of course, I'm talking about Jimmy Buffett. Now you see, in the early days of Jimmy Buffett's career, there was a particular bar that kicked him out. In fact, the owner said that he would never amount to anything in the world of music. And well, this is the bar right here. The trade winds have been around since 1960, or the 1960s, I believe. But I find it so interesting and so ironic that this bar kicked out Jimmy Buffett. Who would have thought? Well, we all know who came out the winner in history. I miss Jimmy Buffett, and I really wish I had had the opportunity to go to one of his concerts. But this is where he got kicked out, or at least allegedly anyway. Now, before we end this vlog, I want to take a look at one more area that's not really so much obscure history, but I just want to see the progress on what they've done with it. Now, here on Avila Street, here is what is actually the original jail, and they have been working on it, but I am curious to see what they've been doing to it. It's nice to see that the current owners, or the current people that are working on the house, they have a sense of humor. But yes, this is was originally the town drunk tank. And from what I understand, the second floor was added sometime in the 1850s, I think, or 1870s. You know what? Oh, that's cool. Look what they're doing to it. Oh, that's so neat. Actually, that works better. Oh my goodness. If you look at the far end, you could probably see where the bars originally were. But it is good to see that they're really doing a good job with it. If they have a sense of humor like that, I know that the current owners will definitely bring this place back to what it originally was. The town jail. Or at least maybe some kind of museum. Either way it's pretty cool. Anyway, you guys, this is going to be another vlog for another day. It was fun walking around St. Augustine. It was good seeing the obscure history. Y'all got to see some of my stomping grounds in the previous video. But it's kind of cool that I will be doing a ghost hunting video later tonight. But anyway, you guys, remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care. Now y'all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, this vlog is over.